Today's video is a twist on a stamp set to make a unique floral piece. Here is a look at that garden egg stamp in thin cuts. I just love it because not only does it have several egg shapes if you celebrate Easter, but it just has a really good shape. Even though it's kind of got a peak like an egg, this is one of those general shape thin cuts that will go a long way. And then also, if you'll notice in the catalog, this egg right here is used a lot for just stamping backgrounds. Let me see if I can find a couple of examples for you. So right here, they have used that to stamp the background. Isn't that just so clever and cute? And then also on this stamp piece right here, on this circle, they've just used that one egg image to stamp that background piece. And so you can't even really tell that it is an egg. So you can do that with basically all 4 eggs. These would be a little bit harder, but it definitely could be done. And then I'm actually going to show you a totally different way to use this egg. And I'm going to show you how to do it with the thin cut, or if you don't have a die cut machine, I'm going to show you how you can do it in just fussy cut. So I'm going to go cut several of these, and then I'll bring my project back in, we can get started. So I am speeding this up, and I'm just turning my Versamat over on the back, and then putting all of those egg shapes onto that foam so I can stamp this pretty easily. Now, I haven't used this stamp set yet, so I want to season it with my rub and remove and removing the film on the back of my hand. And I've pulled out some ink pads that are going to match the Honey Bunny paper collection. I've decided to go with flamingo ink for this particular one. And I am just going to stamp this image on these 5 eggs. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on a scratch piece of white daisy. This is what I was telling you, that if you don't have a die cut machine, you could definitely just purchase the stamp set and create this same look. As far as sponging these, I have gotten to where I like to use the back side of my removable labeling tape. It kind of tacks them down and it doesn't get my hands or my fingers as inky. I'm using my magnets to attach it to my glass board, but that tape is just a little bit too slick, so I am having to hold it, but nothing like it would be if I was having to hold each individual egg. So I'm just using glacier ink and a blending brush to kind of add some ink to the top of those eggs. And then here is where I have just fussy cut out those 5 eggs. Again, this is an option if you do not have a die cut machine. You could definitely purchase this stamp set without the metal dies, and you can still get the same look. I'm going to clean up my glass board and then go ahead and pull out some circle shapes. Now, this circle shape is going to serve as the base for the petals, and I'm just using some liquid adhesive, trying to space them out evenly. It does prove to be a little bit more difficult, but in the end, especially on my layout, you really can't tell, and it also makes it look kind of organic, being that the petals aren't exact, if you will. Now, I wanted to add some honey butter shimmer brush speckles to this floral piece. So I'm just doing that and then going ahead and doing it on the fussy cut image as well. And then, you know, I never want to waste anything. So I have that 12 by 12 from that basketball layout from a couple of days ago. I'm just picking up the rest of that honey butter shimmer. And then this is a flower that I did kind of more masculine. I'm going to finish that card off at the very end of this video. So I've decided to do scarlet ink with that one, and I'm going to use that same 12 by 12 and kind of do that scarlet splatter in the opposite corner, and then just kind of move that and pick up some more of those little bitty splatters. In the end, the scarlet looked a whole lot like blood, if you will. So if you're looking for a good way to add a faux blood look, you definitely could do that with the scarlet shimmer brush. Now, these little compartments are full of some of our new thin cut shapes. It is currently sold out, but I just cut a whole bunch, and so I pulled out some circles. Now, I want to kind of mold these petals, and I'm just using a rounded barrel. You could use a pen. I'm using the end of my paper piercer. And then I'm adding 3D foam tape to one of the circles. Now, this is the honey butter polka dot. And then I'm doing the same thing with this masculine flower. This one I'm going to actually double stack the centers, and then I'm going to start putting together my layout. Now, this layout is inspired and is pretty much as is for the workshop for honey butter. Now, the kit is sold out, but you can still go to my website and download the workshop guide. So I've just adhered those strips of paper onto a white daisy piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use the light side of sage cardstock as my base. And then I'm going to use, these are labeled for the project. Again, they're from the scrapbooking kit. And I'm going to use some of those die cuts, as well as, like I said, I'm basically copying. This is originally a 2-page layout, but I've made it a 1-page layout. So I'm just getting everything adhered down so I can start embellishing. Now, remember that some of these are the die cuts from the actual workshop. This is a little date tab at the bottom. And then I'm going to pull out my sticker sheet from Honey Bunny. There are a few stickers listed to use in the workshop. Now, I have already used some of the stickers, so I've kind of gone rogue, if you will, on this one. There are some stickers that I'm going to remove the sticky backing, so I've got my anti-static pouch out. And then a lot of times these die cuts have little tabs, so I like to just trim those off with my microtip scissors. And the majority of those will be adhered with 3D foam tape. So the tab that was supposed to go under this little speech bubble, I've already used. So I pulled out another sticker, and I'm going to add 3D foam tape to this one. I'm trying to cover the majority of the back of this because it is a journaling spot with the 3D foam tape. So it'll be easy once I add my photos to come back in and journal, and my pen won't go off the edge of the 3D foam. This is a cute little butterfly. I'm going to adhere down. Now, I do get it upside down, so I just need to remove it and adhere it the right way. And then there is this little strip sticker that I've added 3D foam tape, and now it is time to attach my floral piece. Now, the original layout calls for a little circle sentiment from the sticker sheet that says, "Oh, happy day," I believe. It's a really cute layout, but I'm loving the way that this garden egg floral looks on this layout as well. So I'm just going to sprinkle some of the watercolor hearts and then use some of our honey bunny dots to embellish just this white daisy piece of cardstock. For the most part, I am not doing a whole lot of embellishing over on the right side, which is kind of not normal for me. I kind of try to always, create that visual triangle, but I'm really liking how the workshop only had it on the white daisy, so I decided to repeat that. Another thing on the workshop, they did do some faux stitching with a black journaling pen, and I went ahead and decided to do that as well. And then I'm also going to add some of my little doodle dots like I do. You'll be able to see the close-ups of those here at the very end of the video. Just adding a couple of more dots, and then I'm kind of looking, and that sage is just a little bit too plain for me. So I'm going to flip this layout out on the back, and I'm going to just kind of stamp a few of these little leaf patterns just to make sure I like it, and I do. So I'm going to repeat that all around the edge of this layout. Again, this is sage ink on the light side of the sage cardstock, so it creates a really good tone on tone. At the very end, I'll stamp the very last one and then come back in and sandwich the second to the last one. And then just to kind of be consistent, I am adding some more of that, those doodle dots with that black journaling pen. I felt that this garden egg floral piece needed something. I did try some jute, some baker's twine off camera, and I really just wasn't feeling it. So I pulled out the Sweet Dreams die cut. Now these are a little bit too large, so I'm just going to kind of play with the placement here and do a whole lot of trimming. I end up using only one of the little fleur-de-lis or whatever these are called. I end up just using, well, no, I guess there's two. So I use two, but I trim them heavily. And then that allows them to just barely peek out from behind there, but I really love this little touch. I added one of the hearts down at the bottom right, and then there's this little circle thing I'm going to add up by that speech bubble as well. Here's a look at those little pieces, as well as the shimmer of the honey butter shimmer brush on that floral piece. And then here is that masculine card. Now I've pulled out the sage word strips as well as the Let's Go Anywhere stamp set. This is the card making stamp set. It is currently sold out, but there's just this happy birthday sentiment on it. So I'm stamping that using toffee ink on one of those sage word strips, and I'm going to add 3D foam tape to that and get that adhered down to the bottom of that card front. And then I'm going to come back in with some red hearts. Now, remember I used the Scarlet shimmer brush, so I'm using the Scarlet hearts, and I'm just going to attach those to the card front. Here is a look at both of those projects as well as some close-ups. Again, this is part of the Close to My Heart Twisted Sisters YouTube Hop. You'll find a link down below to all the products that I used, as well as a playlist for that collab. So you can check out all the other Close to My Heart makers and see what they twisted for this catalog. Thanks, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.